Do you remember getting in fights with your siblings? Me and my siblings used to fight all the time. All the time. When you grow up in an environment where love is war, and love is violence, and love is unrest, and love is continual, continual insanity, really. That's how I grew up. What ends up happening is you begin to resent your brothers and sisters. And my older brother and I, we would get into these fights. I mean, he would literally carve things above my head while I slept into the wall right above my head with a knife. So sometimes we're on good terms, sometimes we're on bad terms. And what's wild is that we were all around danger continually. We had a bunch of guns and we had all this crazy blowing stuff up, shooting propane bottles. I mean, it was pandemonium. And we just didn't have a healthy respect for the danger that we were around. I remember my brother and my dad and I were outside, we're shooting guns, and there's like a old R34A bottle hanging from a tree, and we're taking turns shooting it and shooting it. Well, somebody shoots this thing and actually hits the rope that's holding it, and bam, it's now on the ground. And so my brother had been shooting, and we were passing it back and forth, passing it back and forth. Pretty innocuous, probably Saturday night. Well, my dad goes down the hill and says, "Hey, don't touch the gun. I'm going down the hill. I got to fix this. I got to tie this to the tree." And my brother starts going in on me. "Oh, it's my turn again. He made me stop halfway through because it fell on the ground." And I'm like, "No, it's my turn." Unfortunately, at that age, I did not understand how to use language to accomplish what you're trying to do. I only understood that the last person that's going to tell me what to do is him. Period. End of story. And I mean, that had started for many, many years of just resentment, anger, hatred for one another. I had so much hatred for my older brother. And I'm ashamed to admit that. I wish I could have been a better person, but I was not. Well, he's talking trash, I'm talking trash. "No, you're not going to touch it. Don't touch the gun." He goes to grab for it. I go to grab for it. Now we are wrestling with a rifle. We're wrestling to see who gets the gun. And that was like standard type stuff in my family. Like, did we think, oh, we could get shot and die? No. Psh, you're going to challenge my ego? I'll get shot and die. I don't care. That's who I was back then as it was probably like 12 or 13, somewhere in there. Well, it ends up getting heavy, right? Because I got my hands on the gun and I ain't letting go. He's got his hands on the rifle. He ain't letting go neither. And so now we are on top of a hill shooting off of a picnic table. Now we are rolling around on the ground with a loaded firearm that's off safe and wrestling to gain control over the weapon. Thinking about this makes me cringe. Every year I run a camp and we blow stuff up and shoot a ton of guns there. It's awesome. It's incredibly safe. We got ex-military that are watching the line, ex-police officers that really make sure everything's okay. And I'll tell you, man, like I go through that experience now and just think about memories like this, about the insanity of memories like this, where my brother and I, we are rolling around on the ground with a loaded firearm that is off safe. I mean, You can't get more stupid. I mean, that's like elite level redneck stupidity. I mean, that might be like elite level reformed white trash, trailer trash, redneck stupidity. I don't know what level that is. I don't know how to quantify it in the level of stupidity, but it's got to be pretty close to the top. Okay? I mean, you can't get dumber than wrestling over a rifle on the ground. But that's the truth. That's who I was. I was gonna back down to anybody. I was gonna let anybody get the best of me. That's how big my ego was. I don't care. I'll wrestle with you with a gun on the ground. You're gonna talk trash to me? That's the type of egomaniac, narcissistic lunatic I was. That I would not even consider my own personal safety or my brother's. Whatever, dude. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die with my ego. I mean, what a insane, ridiculous human being I was trained to be. You see, I had not seen a different view of the world yet. I did not understand the things I do now, but this particular memory, man, redefined stupid for me. And man, as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about how in my older life now as an adult that same competitive, destructive nature would only come out during board games. And I'll tell you, I didn't care if I didn't have any friends at the end of the board game or the video game or the sporting event. I didn't care. As long as I won, I could sort it out after. What a terrible attitude I had. And it was the same thing here. I'm wrestling. I'm yelling at him. He's yelling at me. We are going back and forth and screaming. And I'm trying to push him off. He's trying to rip my grip off. I'm trying to do the same thing. And wouldn't you know, when you have a loaded firearm and you are wrestling on the ground with a loaded firearm, that can go off. Who knew? What a genius statement. And I'll tell you, when that thing went off, the bullet landed about 5 feet from my father's feet. And I mean, we didn't even consider that anyone could die. We didn't even consider that anyone could get hurt. We didn't consider none of that because I got my ego. Because I'm going to get my way. I don't care about the consequences. I don't care about who I hurt. I don't care. You're not going to talk to me like that. Me? Man, was I a braggadocious, arrogant, narcissistic lunatic when I was young. Took me years to work through these things and to understand that what life really is about is not my ego or looking good or being important. It's about being the type of person where you can make a phone call to 40 people in the middle of the night from multiple countries all over the world and say, I need you now right here in my town. And they are leaving their beautiful family behind, jumping on a plane, and they're going to be there for me. That's what real relationships about among the brotherhood of men. It is not about being an egomaniac. It's not about the car you drive. It's not about how good you look. All of that is meaningless. Meaningless and empty. It's about the brotherhood, the real authentic brotherhood of men. And what's wild is even guys that are hyper successful, they don't hang around with like narcissistically lunatic men like I was as a kid. Like everybody's got an ego, but it's in check, you know? And there's a brotherhood there that is just truly tremendous. Well, my brother and I were severely reprimanded, to say the least, because my father almost was shot. I think it was a 223 rifle. That's what my brain's saying. That's got to be what it was. It certainly was not anything small because it had some kick. But talk about a level of uh, irresponsibility. Like, think about what it would take, like the environment you would have to grow up in. Think about that. For you to be wrestling with a family member on the ground with a rifle that is not unsafe. Like, I think about this now and I'm just like, I can't even believe it myself. And this is my life. Like, what type of mindset do you have to do that? That's what we see with all this craziness going on in the world. Think to yourself, over that? I understand how people can do those types of things. Over that? What? Because the person walked 3 feet to the right? Over that? Somebody got offended and then let their offense lead into violence? What? If you've ever wondered how that type of stuff happens, there's a lot of people that'll quote unquote blame that on past trauma, and really it comes down to a issue with being fathered. I was never fathered as a man. I didn't understand the value of life when I was 12, 13 years old. I didn't understand boundaries and rules. I didn't understand, hey, if you could kill yourself with a gun, you might not want to wrestle with somebody on the ground with a loaded firearm. I mean, I certainly had cognition and logic and I could think, but I clearly couldn't think well enough to be competent in regards to staying alive if that thing would have gone off and killed me. And so I think that's the thing that's interesting here is that the ego is a dangerous, dangerous thing if it's unmastered in a man's life. If you're not initiated into the fellowship of men and you don't understand how to be, man, I mean, this is where we see this gang violence stuff. This is where we see kids shooting kids. This is where we see kids stabbing kids. This is where we see all this stuff. Because ultimately, the fragile ego, the broken soul of the man is all that we have. You see, that's the dangerous thing nobody wants to talk about is that unfathered men statistically commit most of the crimes, have most of the problems in life. Why? Because as I was an unfathered man, I had to learn everything I learned on my own. I had to learn how to be a good man on my own, how to not take advantage of people, how to not be an egomaniac, how to not be a narcissist. I mean, I spent decades of my life from the ground up, from the freaking concrete up, building the person that's talking to this camera right now. And I think it's really important to father men. If you get a chance in your life, somebody who doesn't have a dad, single mother situation, man, pour into that kid's life. Pour into that kid's life. You never know the impact you can have.